Hey everyone, just doing a quick market update. Let's look at these markets. We're basically looking at a trend day lower. This is the ES. We're looking at a trend day lower in the Nasdaq. Hit a key level support and demand zones, kind of bouncing off of it, right? All right. A couple of trades. Actually, be in all transparent, didn't take the trade that I talked about in the pre-market. It was too a little wild of an open. Saw a lot of things. There was that 9:45 data that came out, 10 a.m. data come out. So I kind of like, even though they worked out, the trades did work out. Remember I talked about we opened and we did correct. We opened here, right? I said if we close at the lows, that would be nice. And we did come across the most traded price at the overnight, and we did get a push, right? And we did get a push basically where to the almost to the gap. Gap was 40.55 on Friday. This was 40.57. Then I said you could have shorted, right? Well, there was so much wackiness at that time at 9:45 that I just chose to just sit on the sidelines, even though that would have been a short, right? But not everything sets up like you want it to. Obviously, the same thing happened in the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was actually a little stronger, put pushed pushed more into the gap. But besides the point, I just wanted to go over what was happening now. All right, and I want to show my internals here to show you guys what's under the hood of this market. Okay, so a couple tidbits. If whoever hasn't followed me, these are my internals. Okay, this is the Nasdaq tick. This is the NYSE tick, and I mean these are exchange ticks. They're not Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 ticks. They're Nasdaq and NYSE ticks. Okay, it just shows you every uptick and downtick of the whole exchange. Very powerful. Tells you immediately. This is the zero line. Okay, above the zero line is a bullish thing, right? Well, check that out. This isn't the whole day, but this is maybe like the last hour or so. No positive ticks, right? So that's one thing. That's one thing that's going to contribute to this trend. Okay, I'm not saying we can't have a pullback, but this is pretty much a trending day lower. Now, why else? Okay, we have a couple other things here. Now, out of the NASDAQ 100, we have 79 stocks declining and only 11 advancing. No, I'm sorry, not 11. That'd be, I'm drawing a blank here, about 20. 20, let's just say 20. 20 advancing, right? That's pretty much the whole NQ 100's down. Then out of 500 stocks, you have 413 down. So that's very bearish. Now, on top of that, you have the exchange advanced decline lines. Okay, I'm going to try to pull them up here. I don't know why it's not giving me this level here. Just bear with me for a second. There it goes. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so these are the exchange level advanced declines. Okay, anything below or above 2000 is very bearish or bullish. So this is negative. Okay, this is negative, and it's kind of staying what you call pinned or pegged at this 2000 level. See how it's kind of moving sideways. Same thing with the this is the NYSE up here. This is the Nasdaq exchange down here. It's 2609. Okay, it's kind of moving sideways. So whenever it moves sideways at these big levels, minus 2600 is huge. That is just a huge sell-off for the whole exchange. And we have 2155 over here in the NYSE. As long as they stay pinned and they don't move around too much, we're going to keep falling. It's going to keep falling, so any pullback is shortable. Okay? And just looking at sectors, right? We started off where tech was stronger. See, tech is not the weakest sector today. These are all off the open. These are all off the open. Now, the deeper red they are means that they're over. They're down over 0.5%, a half a percent. But we got, so these are the large weighted sectors here in the Nasdaq, in the S&P 500. So you have Infotech's down 0.65 off the open. Healthcare is down 0.24. Then the bigger losers are financials, which is down 1.21%, and consumer discretionary, which is down 1.23%. Okay, those are the heavyweights in the S&P 500. You can see the weights in each one. 10.6% is consumer discretionary, 11.7 is financials, and 14.7 is healthcare, and 26.5% is infotech. So whatever these sectors are doing, usually is what the market's going to do. And then you have industrials at 8.4 and so forth, right? But these are the heavyweights, so you really want to put weight on these. Okay, so that's that. And one other indicator I have that's great from shadowtrader.net, this is called the weighted AD, and this plots, it's awesome because this plots these histograms here, is plotted the weighted AD. So it actually is taking the weight of these sectors and putting them on a chart. So it moves with the weights. It doesn't just do it like they're all the same. It actually puts more weight on the top four. Okay, so what that means is right now there is no set number that is bad. I can't say that, but when you're at minus 380, that's a pretty negative sign. Okay, and now this white line here is unweighted. So that's just every sector as if they were the same. Now what that tells you is right now, what this tells you is the weaker sectors are more bearish than the strong sectors. It's still bearish. Okay, when it's really bearish, when we're really super bearish, you're going to see these histograms be lower than this unweighted line. Okay, I know I'm giving you guys a lot, but this is the things I look like under the hood, and it shows here, right? Because if you look at the histogram and it's a little weaker, it's a little stronger than the weighted, right? It's not as negative. Well, look here, Infotech's down 0.6. It's down 0.6. Now look at the healthcare. It's only down 0.21, right? But financials and consumer discretionaries are down over 1%, and so forth. Industrials down 1.36%, right? Real estate's down 1.4%. So that's why this just makes this these sectors, like looking at this, it analyzes it all into a chart for you here. It makes this into a chart. So I don't have to go, ooh, this is weak. Oh, wait, this is not as weak. I can look at this and go, okay, unweighted is weaker. Okay, maybe the move is not as sustainable, but today is. We're weak. Okay, but tech is just not the weakest, and you can see that on a chart. You can see that. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys what I'm looking at. So the important thing was what I was trying to tell everyone is that I really want to look for that pullback, because typically when those NYSE exchanges, which I was telling you about before, which was at negative, it's at like negative 2155 on the NYSE it was. Let me see, I'll get it back. Here we go, negative 2158, and we have negative 2600. If they stay pinned here and here, even if you get a pullback, that pullback, okay, and what I mean by that pullback, if we look at a couple of my 50-minute charts, okay, so look at this chart. This is the ES, right? So this is the 15-minute EMA. This is VWAP. So I would say a VWAP pullback to VWAP or this 15-minute EMA is probably shortable today, because the market's just so weak. Well, that might not work out, yes, but it's a very high probability that it will pull back here, and then we'll go to the lows or make another move lower. The only thing that makes me hesitant is this demand zone. Okay, um, this demand zone right here in the Nasdaq. See, we're bouncing out of it, and we have a negative epoch around 120, 131 in the Nasdaq. That just means that it's a prior most traded price of the day that has never been touched before. So I don't know if that gets hit today, but if we take another leg lower, that should get hit. But this demand zone's pretty large, and then you have this key support level 120.55. Okay, what's there? 200-day moving average. I think if I'm not saying today, but if we have a huge move more, I don't know if you would today. That next target is the 200-day moving average in Nasdaq, 120.55. Okay, what do we have in the ES? We have here is the 50-day moving average. Okay, and below that you have the 200-day moving average down here. Okay, so I would say realistically, where can we go lower? We have the 50-day moving average right here. We have a demand zone, which might get a little bounce, might not. We also have the most traded price of the rolling year here at 39.90. Okay, that's where what I just mentioned to you. So we got about 4,000, a little above 4,000 is the 50-day moving average with demand zone, most traded price of the rolling year, and we have the 200-day moving average around 39.83 or so. That's what's below us. It's probably the most likely targets. Okay, below us. I'll bring him one step farther, and we'll go over to. Let me hit you with the watch list real quick. You can see where stocks are at. You probably know this already. I can just bring you one chart further. Just plot this again, and just you can see this on a chart that I love. Let's just go over here to trading template here. Okay. Now, I'm going to expand this so you guys can see it a little bigger. Okay. So this is the ES. So, now, where do we come from? I always talk about this. Here is the most traded price of this year. 41.28, right? Now we dropped below that. Price is right here right now at 40.18. Okay, we're right here. Now, why I said we're probably going to go down to the most traded price. Look at this volume, okay? It's the most traded price in the rolling year, which means a year ago today, from a year ago today, this price, which is, what did I say it was? Around 4,000, but it's actually 39.89. Okay, let me clarify. Let me make sure. Let me see. 39.88, 39.89. Like I said, this is probably our next destination. Okay, we're probably not cutting through that like butter. So 39.89 in the futures. Okay. Now remember, I said we also have the 50-day moving average. All right. Now we do have a node here, a high volume node. Why? Here. Last month's most traded price was 40.15. Okay, so that's could slow us up. That's probably what's slowing us up right now. Okay, let's move on to the Nasdaq. Okay, in the Nasdaq, here's the most traded price of this year, 125.45. Right now we're below it. If you watch my videos, you could definitely see that I said once we're below that, we're gonna get a big move. Right, the big move has happened now. Where can we go next? Right, we have a demand zone. I don't have a demand zone on here, but we do have a demand zone. Now you can see every blue profile is a weekly profile. Every white is a point of control, is a most traded price of that week. So 120, 123. If you go right here, that's where we could stop and pause. Right. We have a node here too. Then you can see right here there's a most traded price of this week. That could be another destination, right? But we know we have a 200-day moving average like I pointed out in the other chart. Okay. Ultimately, we also have the most traded price of the rolling year, which is 116.98 in the Nasdaq. That could be where we ultimately land. Okay. Now, does it mean we have to? Could we just go like this? I guess. But I'm just saying, most likely now. Most likely. I mean, if people still want to buy this market, I guess they can. But I just want to do an update. Middle of the day. Give you guys a 15-minute video. A little longer than what I wanted. But hopefully you got some info. Hope you enjoyed the video this morning. Made sense. Obviously, the day I make the video, why the market's getting propped up, we tank. But that's all right. All right. If there's anything of importance yet today to give you guys, I will. All right. All right. Hope you guys are agreeing today.